Hi everyone and welcome to today's online Vinyasa flow class. My name is Tilda and I will be guiding you today. The pose of today's practice is tiger pose, which is a nice back bend, but we're going to build up to that pose with a bit of flowing Vinyasa. And then this is a flow to slow class. So we're going to start off with an energetic Vinyasa flow and some mobility. And then we're going to do the second half of the class, which is a lot slower, allowing you to release into postures and begin to relax. So hopefully it's the best of both worlds. We're going to begin by taking a cross-legged seat on our mats and doing a little bit of breath work. So if you're still setting yourself up, you're going to want to make sure that the top of your mat, the shortest end, is facing towards me, wherever you've got me set up on your laptop or phone. And you want to make sure that you've got enough room to raise your arms above your head. If this isn't possible, then at any point in the class when I say this, you can just keep your hands in heart center. If at any point in this class you need to take a child's pose, then please do. This is your restful position. It's your own practice. I am with you right now, but I'm not physically in the room with you. So only you know your body and only you know your energy limits. So be your own guide. I am just here to facilitate the session. So let's begin. Taking a cross-legged seat on your mat. Make sure you're comfortable, adjust your sit bones. I want you to bring one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart center. And here you can either close your eyes or lower them to the ground. Just kind of shut off the world around you in whatever way feels comfortable. And we're going to begin by taking a deep inhale through our nose for a count of 4. So inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. Holding that breath for a count of 2, 1, and exhaling for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's try again. Inhale for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Retain the breath for a count of 2, 1, and exhale for a count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Now keep counting mentally in your head, continuing to inhale through your nose, holding the breath once you feel full of air, and then slowly exhaling through your nose. Releasing that air, feeling your belly rise and fall. Keep breathing here. And if you feel like you lose count or you lose focus, you may want to tap your hand on your heart for every count, every time you're taking a breath. So it might be when you inhale, you count 1, 2, 3, 4, and you retain 1, 2, and then you exhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Do whatever works for you, but continue to breathe here for a few more minutes. Inhaling deeply, belly rises. Exhaling deeply, belly falls. Let's take a few more breaths here in silence. Coming up to our final deep breath here. Make it your biggest and your best. Inhaling, taking in every sip of air. And then exhaling slowly, feeling your shoulders relax, any tension release. I want you to return to this breath anytime you need it in your practice. We're really trying to work on inhaling and exhaling through our nose rather than our mouth. When you feel like you really need to inhale through your mouth, it might mean that you've pushed your practice too far. And you can take a break and then return until your breathing's under control. So let's begin with a bit of a seated warm-up. Bring your hands to your knees and begin to make some circles with your spine. Rounding and then arching your back as you come forward and rounding your back, tucking your chin as you come back. Come forward and arch your back, squeeze your shoulder blades and come back, round your back, tuck your chin. 2 more here. Final one in this direction. And we change direction, rounding and tucking your chin. And then coming forward, squeezing your shoulder blades, arching your back. Remembering to breathe throughout the movement. Final two here, round and tuck. Pull forward, arch back, squeeze shoulder blades. And come to stillness. Inhale your arms to the sky. Exhale, bring your left hand to the mat and sweep your right arm up towards your ear and lean over towards the left side. Taking a deep inhale here, and on your exhale, leaning a bit deeper. Feel a deep side stretch on that right side body. Final breath here, a deep inhale and a deep exhale. Before switching over to the other side, both arms in the air, right hand to the mat, left arm up and over your ear until you feel a stretch in that left side body. Take a few breaths here. And bring both arms up into the air with an inhale. Take a breath, and on your exhale, bring your arms out like goalposts or like cactuses. Bring them out to shoulder height, and then take a breath. On your next exhale, squeeze your shoulder blades together, keeping your arms out like a cactus, but just squeeze your shoulder blades, push your chest forward. Taking some breaths here, keep squeezing, keeping that tension between your shoulder blades. And raise your arms up to the sky, straighten them out, relax all the muscles, maybe take a wiggle from side to side. Now on your next inhale, find length and bring your arms back out like cactuses. Squeeze those shoulder blades together and take a few breaths here whilst you squeeze. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the squeeze. Raise your arms up to the sky. Take a breath. And now, final time, arms out to the side like cactuses. Take a breath and squeeze those shoulder blades together. Keep squeezing them, but don't hold your breath. Make sure you're breathing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And inhale, raise your arms back up to the sky. Keep them up. Take a breath here, and on your next exhale, bring the right palm to the left knee, left arm behind you for an easy seated twist. With every inhale, your spine gets longer, and every exhale, you twist towards the left. A few breaths here. Keep breathing, keep twisting. And in a moment, gently come back through to center and bring your arms up into the sky with an inhale. Exhale, left hand to right knee, right hand behind you, and twist towards the right. Taking a few breaths here and using the air and the breathing to guide your twist. Few more breaths here. And gently unwind out of the twist. Moving into a tabletop position, roll over, palms to the mat, knees are underneath your hips, your hands are underneath your shoulders, tabletop. We're going to do some tabletop cat-cow. So with an inhale, I want you to arch your spine, squeeze your shoulder blades, and gaze up towards your third eye. With an exhale, tuck your chin and round your back. Inhale, squeeze shoulders, arch spine, gaze up towards your third eye. Exhale, tuck your chin and round your back. Move through a few of these on your own, at your own pace. Remembering to link the movement with your breath. Every exhale, we rise. Every inhale, we arch and gaze up. Keep going here. Final one. And come back to neutral tabletop. With our next inhale, we're going to raise our left hand to the sky, gaze up towards those left fingertips, and then bring the left hand underneath the right armpit, interlace it for a thread the needle pose. Bring your left ear to the mat and gaze towards the left hand. If you'd like to intensify this twist, you can raise your right arm up and tuck it underneath your left hip crease. Otherwise, stay as you are. Keep breathing here in the thread the needle. Feel that shoulder stretch. Now come out of the posture the way you came in. Raise that left arm to the sky. Gaze up. Bring the left hand back to the mat, tabletop. Doing the same on the right side. Inhale, right arm to the sky. Gaze up towards the right fingertips. Exhale, interlace that right arm underneath the left armpit. Bring the right ear to the mat. Stay here. If you want to intensify the twist, you bring your left hand up and behind you and you tuck it into the right hip crease. This is optional. Take a few breaths here. Come out the way you came in. Plant that left hand, raise the right to the sky, gaze up, and come back into your tabletop. Puppy dog pose. You want to keep your hips above your knees, and you just want to bring your hands down to the mat and either rest your forehead or your chin on the mat. And in this position, you should feel a nice stretch in your shoulder blades. Stay in your puppy dog pose for a few breaths here. Keep adjusting, keep thinking, are the hips above the knees? Keep breathing, allowing that chest to relax down onto the mat. A few more breaths here. A deep inhale and a deep exhale. And from your puppy dog pose now, I want you to push yourself back into a child's pose. You might want to bring your knees a bit wider, your toes to touch, sinking your hips back and then crawling your hands forward. Rest your forehead on the mat and take a few breaths in a child pose. Stay in this child's pose for a few more breaths, taking a deep inhale here and a deep exhale. With every inhale, you might be crawling your hands forward a bit more. With every exhale, your hips might sink a little bit further back. We're only at the start of our practice here, so just listen to your body, see how it feels. Final breath in this child's pose. This might be a good time for you to set an intention for yourself for this practice. An intention will help guide you in this practice, especially if you start to feel tired or distracted. So have a little think. What is it that you want to get out of this practice? What is your intention? Now we're going to leave this child's pose by tucking our toes and coming into a downward dog, the first downward dog of the practice. Tuck your toes, push your hips back up into the sky. Push deeply into the palms of your hands. Imagine that the palms of your hands are becoming flat onto the mat. It's okay if you're stiff here. We're going to warm up together. Now keep pushing into the palms of your hands, but bend your knees. Bend your knees, you raise your heels, you just push with your palms. You imagine your back is getting longer. And then begin to re-straighten out into your legs. We're going to do that one more time. Bend your knees, push deeply into the palms of your hand. Imagine your back is getting longer. And then bring your heels back down to the mat. We're going to walk our dog. So raise one ankle and bring the other down. Warming up into our hips, warming up into our hamstrings. If you feel ready, come to stillness, and I want you to just shake your head, almost nodding yes or shaking your head no, and release any tension in your neck. Let it hang loose, give it a good shake, keep pushing into the palms of your hands. Come to stillness here. Now begin to walk your feet towards the front of the mat until as close as you can get it. And then you want to come into a halfway lift here. Feet are almost together or hip width apart, hands to the mat or to your shins. And then we're going to lightly bend our knees and circle sweep our arms to the sky, bringing them up to the sky. Gaze forward. Release your hands to your side, coming into Tadasana. Roll your shoulders back once, twice. Bring your palms out, stretch out your fingers. Gaze directly ahead, push into your feet. And I want you to lightly tuck your tailbone as if you were pushing your hips forward or sort of semi-squeezing your glutes. Don't go too crazy. Just lightly tuck that tailbone. We're trying to get our body in a straight line. Take a breath here in Tadasana. Imagine your posture here. Be mindful. We're coming into 2 rounds of sun salutation A. So inhale, raise your arms to the sky. Exhale, fold forward over your legs. Coming into our first forward fold. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Take a breath. Halfway lift. Fingertips or hands to shins. Gaze forward. Put your palms down on the mat and step back into a high plank position. From here, drop your knees and then come down to your chest. Coming into a cobra, pushing into the palms of our hands, squeezing our shoulder blades and pushing our feet onto the mat, cobra pose. From here, we're going to come into a downward facing dog. Tuck your toes, raise your hips. Push your palms into the mat. And then we're going to raise our right leg to the sky and then bring it forward between our hands, bringing the left leg with us. Halfway lift, gazing forward. Exhale and fold. And from here, we're going to rise back up, slowly bringing our hands up in a circle over our head, taking a breath and coming back to Tadasana, arms by your side. Take a breath here. Second round, inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, fold forward over your legs, bend them as much as you need to, palms to the mat. Come into a halfway lift. Plant your palms and step back into a high plank position. Drop your knees and chest or come into a chaturanga. Drop down into a cobra pose, pushing your palms down, squeezing your shoulder blades, pushing your feet into the mat. And then tuck your toes and come into a downward dog. Taking a breath here for 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale your left leg to the sky. Bring it between your hands and then bring your right leg to meet it. Halfway lift, gaze forward, straighten your spine, and exhale into another fold. Taking a moment in this fold. On your next breath, slightly bend your knees and circle sweep your arms to the sky. Raise them up, gaze up, and release your hands down to Tadasana. Take a moment here, take a breath. Come back to your posture. From here, we are going to step our left foot back into a warrior 2, bending into the right knee. Arms out to the side, hips are facing to the long edge of your mat. And you may want to bring your gaze over those right fingertips, warrior 2. Taking a few breaths here. Imagine that you're tucking your tailbone in. You have strength within your thighs, within your legs. Take a deep breath. Spine long. And in a moment, we're going to reverse our warrior. Flip your right palm up to the sky and then sweep that hand up until you're stretching into the right side body. Left hand just sort of dangles towards the left thigh, and your gaze should come up to your right fingertips. But if your neck is sore, just keep it neutral. Taking a breath here. From here, coming into a side angle pose. So come back up into your warrior two. Gaze over those right fingertips. And then bring the right forearm to the right thigh. Left arm first goes up in a straight line, and then it starts to sweep over your left ear. You want to imagine that you're spiraling your heart towards the sky. You're not hunching over yourself. Feel a deep stretch in that left side body. For 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale and come back up into your warrior two. And you'll be pleased to know we are done with the warrior two. We're going to come into a wide-legged fold position. So pivot that right foot, and you want your toes to be facing the edge of your mat. Take a moment to adjust here. If you have tight hamstrings, have your legs slightly wider than you think you should. And you want your toes to be pointing towards the mat or slightly turned in. Take a deep breath here. Bring your hands to your hips and begin to squeeze your shoulder blades together. Really squeeze those shoulder blades, chest proud. Try not to arch your lower back in the process. And on your next breath, begin to fold from the hips, keeping your spine straight. Fold forward as far as you can, and once you reach your limit, you can bring your hands to the mat for some support. From here, we're just going to work on our wide-legged fold. So first, take a breath and straighten your spine to a halfway lift. And on your next exhale, begin to fold down over your legs. Release your neck, release any tension in your neck. And just use each breath and your core strength to pull you down as far as you can go. If your hamstrings are very tight and you're sort of hanging in mid-air, that's okay. Maybe grab both opposite elbows and just sway side to side to release any extra tension that you have. Deep inhales and a deep exhale. Deep inhale and a deep exhale. Wide fold twist. Put your right palm on your mat, a little bit ahead of your eye line, and then inhale and bring your left arm to a twist above. So we're opening up from our heart. Our right palm is on the mat, our left hand is in the sky. We're twisting. Taking a breath here. And coming back into our wide-legged fold, bringing both palms to the mat, maybe walking your hands back a bit, and breathing in. From here, we're going to repeat everything but on the other side. So begin to walk your hands over to the left, to the back of your mat. So you might not be looking at me anymore until you're in sort of a low lunge position at the back of your mat. From here, step that right foot forward, come into a forward fold at the back of your mat. And then inhale, bend your knees, circle sweep your arms to the sky, and come back into Tadasana. Release your hands to the sides. We're going to do the same, but on our left leg. So you can't see me, but you know what we're doing. Kick that right leg back, pivot the foot, and bend into the left knee. So you're in a warrior two on the left side. You might find that this side feels different to the other side. Just observe that. So your left knee is bent, your core is straight, your arms are out to the side, but they're relaxed, and you're gazing over those left fingertips if possible. We're here for a few breaths in your warrior two. Feel strong. Final breath here. Reverse warrior. Flip that left palm, raise it to the sky, and bring your right hand just to dangle by your right thigh until you feel a nice stretch in the left side body, remembering to keep that bend in the left knee. Take a few breaths here in your reverse warrior. Coming into our side angle pose, come back first to your warrior two on the left side, and then bring that left forearm to the left leg. Raise the right arm up straight by your ear, and then begin to bend over. Imagine that you're spiraling your heart open and feel a deep stretch in that right side body. Taking a few breaths here. Now come back up into your warrior two position. Take a moment here. And we're going to come back to that wide fold. So straighten your legs, pivot the left toes in, position yourself ready for your wide fold. Bring your hands to your hips, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and begin to fold forward with a straight back. Once you reach your limit, your hands can come to the mat. Take an inhale and elongate your spine slightly, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. Again, if your hamstrings are tight and you're floating in midair, just grab hold of opposite elbows and sway side to side to release any tension. One more breath here. And then you plant your left palm just in front of your eye line on the mat, and inhale, raise your right hand to the sky for a wide-legged twist. Take a breath here and twist, opening up your heart. Continue to breathe, and then bring your right hand down. Come back into your wide-legged fold. Release your neck. And then we're going to come back towards the front of our mat. So using your hands, walk towards the front, pivot your feet until you're in a low lunge facing the front of your mat. From here, we're actually going to drop that left knee and come into a kneeling lunge. Inhaling your arms to the sky. Take a breath here. Returning to our cactus arms, bring your cactus arms out towards the side, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and continue pushing those hips forward. Really releasing those hips, allowing them to open up, squeezing those shoulder blades to open up our heart. Take a breath here. And release the arms, raise them up. Maybe relax your lunge for a second. And then coming back into your cactus arms, squeezing those shoulder blades together, pushing your hips forward. One breath here. And then raise your arms up, maybe relax your lunge a little bit. From here, going to bring our palms to the mat. Step that front leg back into a tabletop. And then from our tabletop, we're going to pop our legs up into a high plank position. High plank position here. I want you to hold this plank for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now lean back into your downward facing dog. Push into your palms, raise your hips, and just take a moment here. Take a few breaths. On your next breath, raise your right leg to the sky slightly, and then bring it underneath your body until your right foot... Nope, my mistake, everybody. Come back into your downward dog. Apologies. Raise your left leg to the sky slightly, and bring that left foot through in between your hands. Drop that right knee to the mat, and coming into your kneeling lunge with on the left side. Inhale your arms to the sky. And you might crawl your left leg forward more to have a better stretch in the hips. Come into cactus arms. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. Push the hips forward. Keep breathing here. And bring the arms back up. Maybe relax your lunge slightly. Take a breath and then come back into your cactus arms, squeezing the shoulders together, pushing your hips forward. Fingers are wide. One breath and come back up. Final one. Relax your arms, relax your lunge a little bit, and then come back into cactus arms. Squeeze those shoulder blades together, push your hips forward. And relax your arms, relax your lunge slightly. Bringing our palms to the mat, we're going to step back into another high plank. So get there however feels comfortable. Tabletop to high plank is a good way. Tuck your toes, push into your palms. Really engage your core, really squeeze your glutes here, and just gaze to the top of your mat. 4, 3, 2, 1. Drop your knees, and then come down with bent elbows to your chest on the mat. Coming back into our cobra pose, pushing through your palms, squeeze your shoulder blades, raise your upper back off the mat. Cobra pose for a few breaths. And release your cobra to the mat. From here, we're going to push back into a wide-legged child's pose and just take a moment to rest. So knees as wide as your mat, toes together to touch. Pull your hands forward and rest your forehead on the mat. Just take a moment here. Stay in this child's pose and just rest for a few breaths. Relax. And when you feel ready, come back into a tabletop position. Palms underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. Core engaged to keep your back nice and straight. Bring your right arm out ahead of you. And then bring your left leg out and raise it to the sky behind you. Opposite arm, opposite leg are raised. And then bring them into the center. Tap your elbow to your knee. And then slowly raise them back out. Center. And extend. Center. And extend. Center. And extend. Pause here for a moment. Then bring your right palm and left knee back to the mat. Now bring your left hand arm out in front of you and extend your right leg out behind you, both in the air, using your core to keep you stable. Bring them into your body, left elbow to right knee, and then extend them back out. Bring them in, crunch your left elbow to your right knee, and extend. Bring them in, extend, in, and extend. Stay here for a second. Bring your left palm to the mat, your right knee. Stay in your tabletop pose. Just take a breath. From here, we're doing a variation of the tiger pose. So I want you to raise your left leg up behind you, just like we did, and then bend at the knee a bit. Now I want you to flex your foot. So we're not pointing our toes, we're flexing it, almost as if we're gonna rest something on our foot, you know? Your foot is flexed, it's almost like a table. With your toes, foot flexed, knee bent, then bring your right arm out. And just imagine that you're kicking that left leg up. And release. Tiger pose variation on the other side. Raise that right leg out straight behind you. Bend at the knee a bit. Flex the foot, almost as if you're making sort of a table with your foot. And then bring that left arm out ahead of you. And imagine that you're kicking up with that right leg a bit. Take a breath here. And return them both to the mat. Coming into a full tiger pose here, you can always stay with the variation we just did. Otherwise, join me for the full posture. So, with a breath, bring your left leg out behind you. Bend at the knee, flex the foot. Kick up a little bit with that left leg. Bringing the right arm out in front of you. And for the full variation, we're actually going to bring that right arm behind us to grab hold of our left foot. And you want to get the outer edge of the foot. I was just working that one out. And then you want to kick, push into that arm, feeling a back bend here. If this is too much for you, you don't have to do it. Play about, just enjoy the experience of trying something. And slowly, slowly release back to the mat. Again on the other side, right leg out behind you, raise it up, bend at the knee, flex the foot, maybe kick a little bit. Left hand out in front, then bring the left hand round and grab hold of the outer edge of that back foot and push. Just kick into the foot, feel a slight back bend, pushing into your hands and knees and feet for stability. Taking a breath here and release back into a tabletop. Sink back into a child's pose here, knees wide, toes to touch, forehead to the mat, arms forward. Just taking a rest here in this child's pose. And as you rest here, you'll be pleased to know that that is the flow part of our sequence done. And we're going to be moving into the slow part of our sequence. So you can rest and relax and restore. So staying in your child's pose for a few more breaths. Now, when you're ready, I want you to just, in whatever way works for you, make your way to lying down on your back with your knees bent. Once you get to the floor, we're going to do a flow of a slow bridge. So for bridge pose, you want your heels to be relatively near your buttocks. So you can always test by seeing if your fingertips can graze your heels. You don't want to be able to grab them, but just if they can graze. From here, we're going to push into our heels and our foot and slowly, I mean slowly, I'll count you in, slowly raise our hips up and then slowly raise them down for a count of 4. So pushing into your heels, let's go. 4, 3, 2, 1, pause, down, 4, 3, 2, 1, pause, up, 4, 3, 2, 1, squeeze the glutes at the top, down, 4, 3, 2, 1, 2 more, up, 4, 3, 2, 1, down, 4, 3, 2, 1, final one, up, 4, 3, 2, 1, down, 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy baby pose. Bring your legs out wide, bent at the knees, wider than your rib cage, and grab hold of the outer edge of your feet or your shins. You want to flatten your lower back to the mat, keeping your shoulders down on the mat, taking a few slow breaths in your happy baby. Do whatever you need to do here to release tension. We're here for a good few breaths. You may find after a few breaths that you've released some tension and you can cool down a little bit more. Or you may find that it's more comfortable for you to rock side to side. Just enjoy your time here in this happy baby pose. Staying in this posture for a few more breaths, really slowing it down here. In a moment, bring your knees together and squeeze your arms around your knees like a ball. And we're going to come into a twist on our left side. So you want to bring your knees towards the right, your hips towards the left, and then you want to gaze over your left shoulder. So your legs have gone towards the right, but your head and your gaze have gone towards the left. Taking a few breaths here as we slow it down. And in a moment, come back through to center, squeezing both legs in with your arms before swapping to the other side. Now your knees go towards the left, hips to the right, and your gaze towards the right. So legs are to the left, but your neck and your eyesight towards the right. Take a few breaths here, really release, really slow down. In a moment, come back through to center, squeezing both your legs in. And just stay here with your legs squeezed in for just a moment. And then eventually I want you to make your way so you're seated on your mat. So slowly, slowly come up to take a seat on your mat. And when you get here, we're going to do a seated butterfly. So bring the soles of your feet together to touch. Your legs are out in a diamond shape. We're going to roll our shoulders back, relax them. Taking a deep breath here. We're going to keep our spine nice and straight. And then bending from the hips, we're going to come forward only as far as we can go without arching our spine or rounding our back. You may just be halfway for now, or you might be all the way down towards your toes. Whatever you're doing, feel a deep stretch on your inner thighs. And remember to try and keep your spine long and straight, no arching or rounding of the back. Take a deep breath once you hit the point where you feel your stretch, and continue to breathe here for a few breaths. Inhaling deeply and exhaling deeply. A few more breaths here. And slowly raising yourself out of the fold. We're going to keep our left leg as it is, but straighten our right leg in front of us. And then pull that left leg in a bit so the sole of the left foot is on the right thigh. We're going to inhale and lengthen our spine. And then we're going to fold towards that straight right leg. So hands up to the sky. And begin to fold. Only go as far as you can till you feel a stretch. You might only be halfway, or you may be able to fold all the way over this leg. I don't want you to worry too much about your posture, as this is our final stretch. So just do whatever feels good right now, but try not to put tension on your back. Listen to your body's limits. Take a few breaths here, folding over that straight right leg. Every inhale, your spine gets longer, and maybe every exhale, you can fold a little deeper using your core strength. And come out of this fold slowly, slowly, and we're swapping our legs. Your left leg comes out straight, your right leg is bent with the sole of your right foot on your left thigh. We're going to straighten our spine, inhale our arms to the sky, and begin to lean, fold over that left leg. Come as far as feels comfortable. You might be halfway, or you may fold all the way over that leg. Remember, your breath is your friend with this pose. Inhale, lengthen your spine, and exhale, fold forward, using your core strength to bring you forward. Again, I'm not worrying too much about your alignment with this last pose. We're just slowing it down, tuning back in. Begin to slowly come out of this single leg fold. Bring both legs out straight in front of you. And using your core strength as much as you can, we're going to begin to slowly come down towards the mat. If you don't have much core strength, that's okay. You can use your forearms to help you until you're lying down all the way on your mat, legs out long. Bring one hand to your belly and one hand to your heart like we did at the start of the practice. And we're coming into our Shavasana, our corpse pose, our final posture. Lying here, I want you to close your eyes and take a deep inhale through your nose, feeling your belly rise. And when we exhale, do it through your mouth. Be as noisy as possible. Let all of that air out. And repeat this a few times. Take a deep inhale through your nose, belly rises. And a deep exhale through your mouth. Release it all, let it all go. Continue to lie here in Shavasana for another minute with me. Keep breathing, inhaling and feeling the belly rise. Exhaling however you like and feeling the air leave you. Release any tension that you're feeling. Release any thoughts. Let it all go in the Shavasana. And if you set yourself an intention at the start of this practice, then just bring that intention back to your mind. Just reflect on it. Don't analyze it. Don't critique yourself. Just bring it back. Let it sit there. And then let it go. Your practice is over. Your day might be beginning or ending, whatever, wherever you're practicing with me. Stay here in Shavasana for as long as you like. But that's the end of the practice with me. I've been Tilda, and you have been wonderful. So thank you for practicing with me today, and I hope to see you next time.